On March 2025, police in Meerut, India made a discovery that shocked the entire nation. Inside an ordinary home, there was a large plastic drum filled with cement. But this wasn't just building material. Inside the drum was the cut-up body of SAURABH RAJPUT, a 29-year-old man who had recently returned from London to be with his family. But what could drive someone to commit such a horrific act? And how did this gruesome crime finally come to light? SAURABH RAJPUT and MUSKAN Rastogi got married in 2016. Their wedding photos show a happy couple, smiling with hope for their future together. SAURABH had worked in the merchant navy but eventually left his job to spend more time with his wife, a choice that reportedly created some discord within his own family. To avoid family tensions, the young couple moved into a rented home in Meerut's Brahmpuri colony, trying to build their life together away from family pressures. In 2019, the couple welcomed a daughter into their lives. It seemed like their family was now complete. But that same year, something happened that would eventually tear this family apart forever. MUSKAN reconnected with an old classmate named Sahil Shukla. They had studied together from 1st through 8th grade, but lost touch over the years. After years apart, they reconnected in 2019 through a WhatsApp group created by a mutual classmate. 3 years after MUSKAN had married SAURABH, their first meeting since school days happened at a gathering in a Meerut mall. What started as just catching up with an old friend quickly turned into something more serious and dangerous. MUSKAN and Sahil began having an affair. Meanwhile, SAURABH had traveled to London for work. Though he had told his family he worked in the merchant navy, he was actually employed at a bakery. For 2 years, he worked abroad, sending money home to his family. Back in Meerut, as his daughter grew up without him, SAURABH's marriage was falling apart. Eventually, he discovered MUSKAN's affair with Sahil. This caused huge problems in their relationship. They talked about getting divorced, but SAURABH decided to stay married for the sake of their young daughter. While SAURABH was working hard in London, MUSKAN had asked him several times for a divorce, but he had refused. What SAURABH didn't know was that his wife and her lover were beginning to see him as an obstacle that needed to be removed. On February 24, 2025, SAURABH returned to Meerut to celebrate his daughter's 6th birthday. His passport was also nearing its expiration date, necessitating his return to India. He had no idea that coming home would lead to his death just days later. By early March 2025, MUSKAN and Sahil had worked out all the details of their plan. What makes this case especially disturbing is the incredible level of planning that went into the murder. According to investigators, MUSKAN had been plotting her husband's death since November 2024. She carefully researched how to get sleeping pills without raising suspicion, even visiting a doctor on February 22, 2025, pretending to be depressed to get a prescription. When that didn't provide enough sedatives, she searched on Google for drug names and ways to get more powerful sleeping pills. She then bought a mix of drugs from a local pharmacy in Nagar, but drugs weren't all she needed. MUSKAN also purchased 2 meat-cutting knives for 800 rupees and a razor for 300 rupees. She bought polythene bags too, all tools she planned to use to cut up her husband's body and hide any evidence of her crime. On March 3, 2025, the opportunity to carry out their plan arrived. SAURABH's mother had prepared a dish of Laki Kukofte, a vegetable dish, for her son. MUSKAN took the innocent home-cooked meal and carefully mixed powerful sedatives into the food. As SAURABH ate his dinner, he had no idea that each bite was bringing him closer to death. Soon, the drugs took effect, and he fell unconscious. With her husband now helpless, MUSKAN called Sahil to come to their home in Nagar, armed with the knives they had bought specifically for this purpose. The pair entered the bedroom, where SAURABH lay unconscious. They stabbed him multiple times in the chest and slit his throat, killing him in his own home. But their gruesome work was far from over. They needed to hide what they had done. In an attempt to dispose of the body, they cut SAURABH's body into approximately 15 pieces to make his remains fit inside a large plastic drum they had recently purchased. They then filled the container with cement and sand, sealing the evidence of their crime inside. With SAURABH's body hidden inside their home, sealed in concrete, MUSKAN and Sahil did something that shows how little remorse they felt. They left for a vacation in Himachal Pradesh, as if nothing had happened. They even sent multiple fake messages from SAURABH's phone to his sister to make his family think he was still alive. For nearly 2 weeks, the crime remained hidden. SAURABH's family had been trying to reach him. Their concern increased as days passed without communication. Meanwhile, the cement in the drum continued to harden, literally sealing the evidence of the terrifying act of Muskan and Sahil. But what happened next will change everything. On March 17, 2025, in an unexpected turn, Muskan called her mother, Kavita Rastogi. She claimed she had a fight with SAURABH and needed to talk. When she arrived at her parents' home, she broke down crying and hugging her mother. Initially, Muskan created yet another lie, claiming that SAURABH had been stabbed to death by his own family members. But her distressed father, Pramod Rastogi, decided this matter needed to be reported to the police and insisted on taking her to the station. It was during this car ride that the truth finally emerged. When she was questioned again by her father, Muskan confessed that she and Sahil had killed SAURABH. At the police station, shocked by his daughter's confession, Pramod revealed everything to the authorities. Meerut police immediately formed a special team to investigate, led by SP of the city Ayush Vikram. Police quickly took Muskan and Sahil both in custody for questioning. Under interrogation, they confessed to the crime and led officers to the house where they had hidden SAURABH's body. What followed was a grim discovery. Police found the drum containing SAURABH's remains, but after a 2-hour effort, they were unable to open it due to the hardened cement. The drum had to be sent to the mortuary, where it was eventually cut open to recover SAURABH's body. The autopsy revealed the full horror of what had happened to SAURABH. Medical examiners found that he had been stabbed multiple times. His body had been dismembered into approximately 15 pieces, his head cut off, his hands removed at the wrists, and his legs forcibly bent to fit his body into the drum. Perhaps the most heartbreaking revelation came from SAURABH's mother, Renu Devi. She claimed that during this entire scene, her 6-year-old granddaughter had been telling her neighbors, "Daddy is in the drum." This chilling statement suggested the child may have witnessed something of the horrific crime. Another unexpected twist emerged when investigators learned that the landlord had asked Muskan and SAURABH to vacate their rental property for renovations. When Muskan returned from her vacation, the landlord sent laborers to help clear the house. But there was a problem. The drum was too heavy to lift. When questioned, Muskan claimed it was just filled with junk. Just when investigators thought they understood the full extent of the couple's callousness, they discovered more disturbing details. Not only had Muskan and Sahil gone on vacation after committing the murder, but Muskan had also told neighbors she was going to Himachal Pradesh with her husband, the very man she had just killed and sealed in cement. During their vacation, they continued to send messages from SAURABH's phone to his sister, ensuring no one would suspect he was missing. This level of calculation and deception stunned even experienced investigators. On March 18, 2025, Muskan and Sahil were formally arrested and subsequently sent into judicial custody by a local court. During the course of the investigation, further shocking facts about the couple's relationship and motives came to light. Both families were left completely shattered in the wake of this heinous crime. SAURABH's parents were grieving for the loss of their son in the most unfortunate way. Muskan's parents had to come to terms with the harsh reality that their daughter was also capable of such brutality and dishonesty. Muskan's parents said, "Hang her."
वो अपना जीने का हक खो चुकी है। मेरी तरफ से फीलिंग मर गई है, उसके लिए उसे फांसी होनी चाहिए। मेरा बेटा जीना है, उसने मेरा बेटा।
जस्टिस मिलना चाहिए।
बेटी को फांसी होनी चाहिए।
फांसी होनी चाहिए।
Their shock and rage echoing in their voices. The sense of betrayal lingered in the air. Their daughter had not only murdered her husband, but had also attempted to ensnare them in her deceit regarding SAURABH's demise. When the court proceedings started, the court placed both Sahil and Muskan in judicial custody. They were accused of murder, conspiracy, and tampering with evidence, offenses that have extremely severe punishments in Indian law. Among all the tragic figures in this whole case, perhaps the saddest is the 6-year-old innocent daughter that SAURABH and Muskan had in 2019. Only 6 years old, she lost her father when he was brutally murdered and her mother when she was imprisoned, Her life forever changed by the ones who were meant to protect her. What compels one to resort to such extremes? Is it maybe the all-consuming love for Sahil? Or is something more, something darker, hidden further in her brain? And what about Sahil? The full extent of his involvement and the reasons that drove him to commit such a brutal act are still somewhat unclear. The case exposes the vulnerabilities of human psychology that we do not want to consider. Lastly, a man's life was ended in a senseless manner, leaving a child without a father and 2 families devastated, all encased in cement in a plastic drum. A grim reminder of the cold calculation behind this horrific crime. But perhaps there is still more to tell in this narrative that we, as yet, do not know. What could be hiding still, not in stone but in the mind of those that knew? We, the audience, are left wondering about the following. What warning signs were missed? How is it possible to hide so much darkness behind such a normal facade? And how thin is the line between love and obsession, manipulation and control? The Meerut drum murder case is a tragic reminder that most of the time, the biggest threats come not from strangers, but from our very own inner circles. It makes us question the very foundations of trust on which we construct our relationships. Some theories suggest they were involved in black magic. What do you think might have driven MUSKAN Rastogi to such desperation? Would increased mental health awareness or intervention have prevented this tragedy? Let me hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you have enjoyed this look at a real crime case, please subscribe to our channel for more in-depth discussion of cases that challenge our understanding of human nature.